Welcome to GrayPrimer, a weekly show that's mostly about miniatures. My name is Nick, I'm your host, and this is day 4 of our WarCry weekend with the Spire Tyrants. Lots of chaos so far in this WarCry weekend, and it's not getting any better or worse, depending on your perspective, but the Spire Tyrants are definitely a 8-pointed star kind of folks. So let's get it unboxed and have a look. And here are the Spire Tyrants. I'm not quite getting their aesthetic, their sort of theme here, but it's like barbarian gladiator kind of deal, I guess. Looks like a variety of different sort of weapons types, but they do have sort of a running theme of pretty dark looking chaos stuff going in there as well. But interesting enough. I do like the branding up top here. I've got to admit, I do not like these eye coverings. They appear from time to time in some chaos things, especially around sort of larger animals and sort of beastmen and things. You get them with some of the Forge World Minotaurs, I think, in Blood Bowl. To me, they look like practice golf balls. Let me just bring that up on screen again. Yeah, it looks like a practice golf ball to me that's been sprayed silver and shoved in somebody's head mask. Miniatures that we have here, some really cool looking dudes like Pit Champion and what's that, a Head Claimer, Pit Fighters. You got, oh, look at this guy, Frenzied Rager. That's so savage. I want a Blood Bowl team just full of those dudes. Then we get Bestigors and into some Pit Veterans there. I like this pose here, but let's have a look at it out of the box. Nice branding there. Again, the handy trays that come with a lot of the WarCry stuff. Got the instructions, our bases, 2 sprues, and then the handy pack of cards and bits and pieces. So let's have a quick look at the instructions. Again, the same sort of painted minis on the front here, nicely displayed. And as we're now accustomed to with Games Workshop manuals, you've got the glue points marked in yellow, and it follows the sort of the same principles as like Lego instructions, I guess. They're kind of grimdark Lego. Goes through a couple of different variants there for some of the miniatures to give you an idea of how you want to load them out. There's one with like a punch dagger, one with a spear, and yeah, just be careful as you go through. Take your time and make sure you're picking the weapons loadout for the warband that you want to put together. A couple of the cards. That's really neat. And then it just goes through the stats for each of the characters. And we have multilingual cards here for the whole crew. And then on the back, you've got their abilities as well. So really handy to have these cards. And then we're actually having a look at the sprue itself. Lots of sort of wide posture here. Look at these, very much a Space Marine kind of stance with the legs wide apart. And honestly, the dwarf is a little more reserved. That's a huge sword. Look at the size of that thing. That's fantastic looking. Standing in a bit of scenery there, which is always a nice little visual element. Oh wow, love that net. That's cool. I like these little bits hanging off the bottom here, chains and bits of cloth and stuff. And throughout this, there are nice little elements of visual interest and detail. Wow, is that punch dagger thing? Because that looks terrifying. Great stuff. Let's get them built and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back with these chaotic gladiators, and I'll start off with the Beastman because that's probably my least favorite character generally, but I think this one's pretty neat. I love this huge sort of spiked staff over the shoulder. Loving the sort of chaotic symbols on the belt and on the sort of chest there. Got these manacles hanging from the hand. You can see some of the detail of the hooves and the sort of the fur around the thighs there. And yeah, really, really nice detail in this one. I'm not such a huge fan of the golf ball sort of eyeball and the rumpy face, but I think it's overall a pretty nice miniature. I like the mail sort of draped over the arm here as well. I think they've done well on this pose. Next, though, we've got a very hero pose. Got a secondary weapon there hanging down. Again, some lovely details across the armor, the embellishments around the waist and everything. This hairpiece is pretty spectacular. And the expression on the face is pretty spectacular. Love that. And then we have a much smaller character here, but no less lethal looking, with this, I don't know, 2-foot long punch dagger. Really great expression on the face there as well. You know, that's a really nice sculpt, I think. I'm liking the other weapon. Liking the detail on how the armor is actually attached to the body. Not entirely dissimilar from some of the Blood Bowl sculpts there in the armor, but really nice. The next one is rocking the whole executioner vibe. Can you call it an axe? Is it fair to? I like the chaos symbol etched into it, but the mask is very much that of a pretty chic looking executioner, but I'm digging it. Great muscle tone around the arms and the legs there, and very much a classic sort of barbarian looking dude, but with a crossed with an executioner. The build on this was a little bumpy. I wasn't really sure how that head was supposed to go, and I don't really feel that it's settled where it should have. It just didn't seem to want to settle anywhere else. Kind of like the Corvus Cabal, actually, in that respect, that some of these miniatures were not the easiest to put together, and there was a little bit too much sort of wiggle room on the way the parts had been keyed together. They just didn't have that sort of clean connection, but I love this shield here, which is very much a weapon as well. It's got the chains with little hooks for just snagging onto flesh. It's got this big old spike in the middle, and then it's got this incredibly grisly looking thing for shoving, I guess, against someone's neck. Ugh. But yeah, I mean, what's not to like about this miniature? There's a great pose and some cool weapons. For the next one, we see the downside of having spikes around the sort of look-through hole on the shield. Like if someone's kick that back at you, those spikes are going straight towards your face. But I do like the pose. I like the scream on this person's face as well. They are just howling in the middle of this fight. And the sword is resting against the shield there. I love this pose. I love the drama, the violence of it, the mail hanging down here, you know, even protecting the forward-facing leg. Love these, even the little knee pads and everything. And the crease on the leather of the boot here is another little detail that you would probably miss at first glance. But I really like that one as well. Fans of gladiatorial combat will be able to tell me what this net-looking weapon is called, but it looks very scary. Looks like you would not want to get caught up in that, especially when the secondary weapon is this thing here, ready to slice you open once you're caught up in that netting. Loving the design on the face. Again, some really beautiful sculpts on the faces here. And this one has a great looking beard and very little in the way of clothing. I guess the idea is to move fast and protect sort of some of your more sensitive areas, like part of your neck. I don't know. And the sandals as well just sort of complete the Roman gladiator look. This penultimate one looks a little generic compared to how dramatic those other miniatures were, but still, you know, there's great detail throughout here. There'll be a lot of interesting parts of this to paint, and yeah, still really, really nice. But it's the final one here is the one I absolutely love, this racing chaos dwarf. I just think this is a cracking miniature, very much reminiscent of like the Fire Slayers, what were they called, the Volkite Berserkers. Digging the big sword here with the little spikes built into it. That's just terrifying. Great looking axe. The helmet is brilliant. I love the sort of teeth jutting out from underneath it and this fantastic beard. But yeah, I am a big fan of this mini. I want to see many more of these type of miniatures coming out of Games Workshop. I would love to see sort of a Chaos Dwarf team with these types of sculpts, not the stupid big helmets that they did for them. I think this is really where it's at. Yeah, more of this, please, especially for Blood Bowl. And yeah, that wraps up the Spire Tyrants. I really liked those. I thought they were going to be super bland, but they ended up being exciting and dynamic, and with great weapons details as well. Really, really cool. Tomorrow is the 5th and final day of the WarCry weekend. I hope you're enjoying it so far. I'm bringing some chaotic beasts to the battle tomorrow, and they look like they are ready to take to the sky and drop death from above. Unlike the pretenders to the sky, the Corvus Cabal, the chaotic beasts can actually get up there and make you wish you'd brought a tougher umbrella. I don't know. But listen, if you're enjoying this content, please like, share, and subscribe. I will see you tomorrow for the next one. Until then, take care and bye-bye.